We have a major update on a possible trade that the Ravens could be making soon. This could be a huge move that could change everything for the Baltimore Ravens. But before we get into that, I want to welcome everyone to Digest Media. My name is Sam Stewart. I hope everyone is doing well today. I wanted to remind everyone to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. How often do you get to be one of the first 100 subscribers on a YouTube channel? Make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. Go ahead and hit it. All right, everyone, so let's go ahead and get into the topic of today's video. As mentioned before, there is a big trade rumor out there involving Rashad Bateman and the Dallas Cowboys. The original article where I read this report was from motorcyclesports.net, and the title of the article by Justin Berry reads, Ravens on the verge of shocking trade as Dallas Cowboys eye Rashad Bateman in bold roster shakeup. Now, this article essentially goes on to talk about how Rashad Bateman could be moved to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for picks and some cash considerations that would help the Ravens in the future. Now, I don't think this is the best move for the Ravens, and it didn't end up happening, and we have an update on this article. Now, this article is from Ravens.com, and it is from Kyle Phoenix. Late for work, Ravens reportedly shut down Rashad Bateman trade interest from Cowboys. Now, we have a quick update to this, and I can explain to you the logical implications of what has happened over the last few days and how some other moves around the NFL have really affected where Rashad Bateman is going to be at this upcoming year. So, if we look at Rashad Bateman's stats, he has been a solid number 2 wide receiver for the Baltimore Ravens. And, I'm sure Dak would love to play with him. If we go ahead and look at his stats from last year, 17 games, 72 targets, 45 receptions for 9 touchdowns and 756 yards. I mean, this guy is a reliable number 2 receiver, Rashad Bateman, and I will argue that the Ravens actually need to hold on to him. But you might ask, why are the Ravens not even considering this deal? Why have they shut it down? And why is this not going to work out in general? Well, the Ravens want to keep Rashad Bateman, first of all. And then second off, the Cowboys have made another move, and that is for George Pickens, a guy who has given the Ravens trouble in that AFC North division. He is a elite talent. He struggled in Pittsburgh with things with attitude at times, but he has been traded to the Dallas Cowboys. This is going to make a big impact for the Cowboys, and it also reduces the Cowboys' need to grab a receiver. The Steelers signing DK Metcalf, get rid of Pickens. Now Pickens is on the Cowboys, and the Cowboys are not looking for that spot to be filled anymore. So let's go ahead and look at what John Alfano of Sports Illustrated had to say about this situation. Last offseason, the 25-year-old Rashad Bateman signed a 2-year, $12.9 million extension to keep him in Baltimore through the 2026 season, which many questioned at the time. But now it looks like a bargain. He currently ranks 45th among receivers in terms of average value, which is more than fair given his production, and will look even better if he continues to improve. The Ravens shutting down the Cowboys trade offer is a good sign, because if another team comes calling, they should do the exact same thing. Alfano also said, yes, the 2021 first-round draft pick from Minnesota had a slow start to his career, catching just 93 passes for 1,167 yards and 4 touchdowns over his first 3 seasons. The important part is that he's here now, though, and with 45 receptions for 756 yards and 9 touchdowns last season, he's an excellent number 2 fit as a number 2 receiver in Baltimore's offense. So when we're talking about Rashad Bateman, this is a guy who needs to stay a part of the team. When other teams come knocking, the Ravens are in win now mode. They're not in draft now mode. This trade proposed by Motorcycle Sports, this was a trade that dealt with cash considerations and draft picks in the scenario. But the Ravens are a win now mode. I've talked about this. The Ravens need to win now. They need to invest in the now, not the future. The NFL has a very short window of championships. But interesting to see how the Chiefs do this year. Been interesting how to see the Bills do. These teams have been consistent, like the Ravens, making it deep into the playoffs. But things can change very quickly in the NFL, and the Ravens are so close, and they need to stay on this track. Bateman has done good things for them, and he needs to stay around. Another thing to consider when we look at this year's team, when we keep Bateman in the fold, another thing to consider when we go to the wide receiver core for this team is this man right here. That's right, DeAndre Hopkins. Now, for those of you who managed to watch any Chiefs games last year, were able to, watch the Chiefs a little bit from time to time, you know how big of an impact DeAndre Hopkins made once he joined the team. 16 games played last year, and when he joined the Chiefs, he made an impact right away. Yes, he did not have a great Super Bowl, but there were so many times throughout the season when Hopkins just truly was the only guy that Mahomes could throw to reliably, and he made crazy plays throughout the year to keep the Chiefs in so many of those close games and run, and he elevated them in a way that really allowed the Chiefs, even though they weren't that solid of a team all around, obviously that got exposed in the Super Bowl, to elevate themselves. So you add someone like that, you keep Bateman, you got Flowers. If you add someone like Hopkins to this, and he helps out a guy like Patrick Mahomes, what is he going to do when he joins another elite quarterback like Lamar Jackson? And the thing is, when we talked about Derrick Henry early on in this channel a few videos ago, Derrick Henry not only helped Lamar helped Derrick Henry. So think about how DeAndre Hopkins is going to help Lamar Jackson, also how Lamar Jackson is going to elevate DeAndre Hopkins. Because Patrick Mahomes did not have a great year last year, and DeAndre Hopkins was still able to elevate him. What about a guy who's playing like Lamar, who did have a great year last year, only 4 interceptions? Looked much more accurate at times than Patrick Mahomes last year, actually most of the time. How is he going to elevate him? This is going to be a scary offense if we can get some production from Hopkins. And then if Bateman continues to improve and be that number 2 guy he can be, this is going to be an offense that's very hard to stop. Hopefully some of the draft picks help the defense out. So we're looking at a team that can be a real complete roster, and receivers are a big part of that. Like, I'll bring up the Mahomes situation one more time, because you see what a guy can struggle with and have a good receiver, and how those struggles can be impacted. So Lamar doesn't have to be perfect if he has a guy like DeAndre Hopkins. As we can see that he helped out Mahomes so much, Mahomes was struggling. Not saying Lamar will struggle this year, but it's always good to have that option to elevate the offense as a whole. So I suppose the question now is, do you believe that the Ravens are in a win-now mode? Do you like the fact that DeAndre Hopkins is on the team this year? Do you believe he's going to make an impact like I said, or do you feel like it's not going to be the impact? We're going to see the DeAndre Hopkins that we saw in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs last year. Do you think that Jerry Jones will eventually try to come back and reach out to Bateman? It doesn't seem likely, but do you think that's still on the table? And if so, do you think the Ravens should give it a consideration, or do you think this is the right move? They should move on from this situation in total. And one last question. How do you feel like Rashad Bateman will play out over this year? Do you feel like he will be traded, or do you feel like this situation is completely resolved, not just from the Cowboys, but all teams? Do you think the Baltimore Ravens should hang on to him for the rest of the year, like John Alfano and myself suggest? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching Ravens Digest. My name is Sam Stewart. We'll see you next time.